Aurora.
Speaker, I'm looking forward to participating in the debate on this bill a little bit later. And, well, the government House Leader will hear. And I think, Speaker, members of this House know that the issue of bullying is one that I've brought forward in this House on many occasions. And it's a very serious one. And I have dealt with constituents on many occasions. I know the effect, Speaker, that bullying has not only on the victim of bullying, but the victim's family as well. And I have repeatedly called in the past on the Minister of Education and on the government to bring forward meaningful legislation that will make it very clear what the obligations are on the part of the teaching staff, on the part of the principals in our education system. I have called repeatedly for a recognition of the victims of bullying. In the past, most of the focus has been on the bully and how does one deal with the bully. And who we tend to forget are the victims who struggle with the effects and the psychological effects that that bullying has had on them. I'm concerned about the bill before us, the government bill, because it does not address in a comprehensive way many of those aspects. I am pleased that my colleague from Kitchener-Waterloo has brought forward a bill that does in a very comprehensive way. And we look forward to seeing what kind of progress we can make to ensure that those essential parts of that member's bill are incorporated.
The member from Newmarket, Aurora.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I, on behalf of my constituents, rise to participate in the debate on Bill 13. It's probably an issue that I've received as much communication on as any bill that has ever been before the House. And I can say that overwhelmingly the tone and the message that I've been asked to bring to this House is one of great frustration with this government for having taken an issue that is of such importance and made it complex in a way that was unnecessary to do. This is an issue, Speaker, that we should have been able and should still be able to find common ground amongst all parties and make a decision to move forward in the interest of our children. And yet, this important piece of legislation has been allowed to become polarizing, unnecessarily so. I want to share and put on the record communication I've received from Ms. Karen Seven, who is with a very highly respected organization called Many Voices, One Vision to Eliminate Bullying. I'd like to read it and ask members of the legislature to consider her thoughts. I quote, "It has been brought to our attention that public comments from the Liberal Party are quite opposite from the comments made behind closed doors when it comes to anti-bullying legislation. This is very disturbing, as we were hoping all parties would work together for the common good of our students in this province. We ask why it is not the intention of the Liberal government to work collaboratively with the opposition on anti-bullying legislation. Anti-bullying legislation of any kind must be non-partisan. The issue of bullying is a social issue and should be everyone's concern. It should be tackled with the same vigor as the Orange Air ambulance fiasco. Sadly, we ask ourselves how many more losses we need to see before we agree on an anti-bullying bill that protects all students. We implore you to put aside your obstinate thought process and do what is right for the children of Ontario." End of quote. And Speaker, it's that obstinate thought process that concerns us. We have two bills before the House, one introduced by the government, the other by my colleague, the member for Kitchener-Waterloo. Both deal with the issue of bullying. The difference between the two bills is that the legislation being proposed and tabled by the member from Kitchener-Waterloo is strictly focused on the issue of bullying. The bill introduced by the government contains clauses that we fail to understand why the government felt it necessary to insert into that bill. We proposed to the government that what should happen is that both bills, having been tabled, should go to committee so that we can, in fact, work together collaboratively to ensure that we have the best possible piece of legislation that addresses the issue of bullying. The government agreed to that and then issued conditions that essentially took off the table a number of areas that were of concern to the official opposition. Speaker, that is not a way to work collaboratively on this issue. We believe very firmly that it is in the best interest to end up with the best possible legislation, that both of those bills should go to committee. They should go to committee now. Speaker, unfortunately, we have no reason to trust that the government will do what it says it will do once there is second reading on this bill. And I believe that if the government wants to indicate goodwill, they will agree to refer both of those bills to committee. Now, Speaker, you know, it's unfortunate that, in one sense, I suppose it's a good thing, but it's unfortunate that the people who are watching the proceedings here can't see the members of the government and can't hear them. Because what's going on right now is a bullying at its best. I'm making a recommendation, making a proposal. The Minister, Ms. Wynne, continues to heckle me, doesn't want to hear what I'm saying. She's entitled, you see, to disagree with me. But one would expect that she would at least allow a member of the legislature to express his or her views without being heckled and bullied by a minister of the Crown. I think we need bullying legislation for this place. It may put Ms. Wynne in her place. We would support that. Now, you know, Speaker, there's something that has happened here. Those who have been following the proceedings, they've been watching the dysfunction of this place. They've been watching a government that fails, first of all, to respect the official opposition and the express will of the legislature. They have refused our request to move both bills into the committee so that we can, in fact, work together and find a resolution to this important issue. The government has also refused to accept the will of the legislature when we had a vote here that we should strike a select committee of the legislature to deal with the issue at Orange.
Order, please.
We hear the cackles over there, and we hear the bullying that's going on. They don't want us. They don't want to be exposed for how they're suppressing the work of the legislature. And that's why, Speaker, I have no choice. Because they refuse to strike the select committee of the legislature, I have no choice but to move adjournment of this debate.
We're on the clock. I was about to stand.
Wait till he gets the floor again.
I was. Okay. The member has moved adjournment, but I'd note to the member that the time on the clock was almost, I was ready to stand up. So this House stands recessed till 10.